Welcome to the Blind Ability Studio for another Tech Ability show with Serina Gilbert, Raqi Gomez, Jesse Anderson, and Lisa Salinger, and myself, Jeff Thompson. We got a lot of topics covered in this episode, so if your podcast player has the chapter feature, go ahead, listen in wherever you want to listen. So in Tech Abilities episode number 31, or Blind Abilities podcast number 771, we dive into the MagSafe battery pack from Apple. Alexa finally gets a masculine voice. iOS 15 is coming out with individual app settings for text size. Peloton is coming out with their own game for their exercise bike. Is a 5G iPhone SE in the works? WhatsApp rolling out new call interface for iPhone users. Is August the month for the Versa slate? Clubhouse opens up to all. Or is it too late? How they're making Diablo 2 more accessible to everyone. The game Road 96 is launching with accessibility, and sound emojis land on Messenger. I want to thank all of you for listening, and if you want to give us a call, give us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. And by the way, did I mention Marlon Periajo is here? Along with the Lori Thompson. And now, on with the show. Hey, Mars.
Hey, Jeff.
Holding down the couch again, eh?
Yeah, just waiting for the show to end.
Oh,
yeah.
We're just getting started. Hey, have you seen Lori?
Lori? Lori who?
Exactly. See you around, Mars.
I heard that.
My life would be incomplete without emoji.
Use your words. Literacy good.
We want to see people work. We want to see them have dignity. We want to see them have success. I love my blind brothers and sisters.
Your muscle memory goes faster than the action, and all of a sudden you go, whoa, what's going on?
A QR code on the screen, and you hold the new camera up to the old screen, and it goes... Broop.
I'm so tempted to download it tonight. Oh.
We are taking a look at a game called Swordy Quest. SWORDY Quest.
It's a blind person's fidget spinner, I swear.
It's like a busy box for adults. Remember those?
Busy box.
All kinds of other shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Ziggy.
Morning is good. Morning is good. Morning is good for you. And if you have non-24, the mornings just come earlier and earlier and earlier every day.
Oh, do you have that, Raqi?
Yes, indeed. I used to think it was all a load of rubbish, but I'm a believer now.
I'm a good faller sleeper. It's just staying there.
That's me too now. I used to sleep through the night without any problem, but now it's like my body temperature is all over the map and stuff.
Yeah.
Some like it hot. Some like it hot.
Some don't like it.
Oh, I got my AC cranked. It's a heat wave over here.
Yeah, you guys got some triple digits this year. What's up with that? I hardly ever remember Minneapolis hitting 100 when I lived there.
We broke many records. Now we got the smoke from Canada rolling in here.
Getting toasty.
Mm-hmm.
And California and Oregon.
Yeah.
We've got the smoke here too. Yeah.
We believe in sharing our smoke in California.
Our air index was 117 today.
Ooh.
I don't know what that means.
It means wear a mask. That's what it means.
It means if you're sensitive that you shouldn't be out there jogging or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hazy.
Purple haze.
It's a different haze, Raqi.
It is Minneapolis, Serina.
I'm still back on those biscuits.
Oh, be quiet. You're making me want those.
And they're frozen, you know. You can just take a
Did
little,
you just add them to your cart, Raqi?
put them in the oven and take a little
Shut up.
Is biscuits the word of the day this time?
biscuits.
Are we going to have to pause for delivery here?
It's about biscuits.
No, I'm
No, I
good.
have a box actually in the cupboard, but I'm liking the sound of those frozen ones. I gotta track those down when we're done here. I'm on
I
a
gotta
mission.
look for those too.
Yeah.
Before we get started, Lisa, I wanted to address the mail we got. I was like I said in the text message, and I might be a little jaded, but I'm getting to the point where everyone's pissed off about everything, and not everything warrants that. Like, I feel like there's more serious things that go on in the world than and a comment like that.
But I agree with you, But I also feel like everybody's struggling, and I should have been, I knew what I meant, but someone who didn't know me, who didn't know my history, wouldn't know what I meant. At least he wrote to us, and he didn't go off in a huff, you know. So
At least as far as you know. We don't know what's on the Twitterverse.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, also, it really taught me a lesson, because there are sometimes when people say the stupidest thing, and it's like, what were they thinking? You had to know how that would be taken. Well, not so much. I didn't even think about how this would be taken until his email came, or I wouldn't have said it.
I did the famous pause during editing. I hesitated for a second and kept going because she gave the ownership to the drawing, not a person.
Exactly.
So
It was a smiley face.
I had to go listen to it again because I heard it the first time and I did notice it and I kind of went, ooh, but it didn't disturb me except that, you know, I've been asked to use different terminology in public places. I was asked to change my phraseology from using the words you guys. I was told maybe I could find a better term like folks or peeps or you all.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm just so over that.
I'm learning that society is changing, and I do understand the importance of trying to recognize and use proper terminology and call things what they need to be called. But on the flip side, I think this is finally my point of coming to terms with the fact that the language that I use and the language that society is using are different.
Right.
And it causes me to be cognizant. What people don't know and what made me giggle, and I'll just shut up after this, Lisa, about you, is that people don't know you the way I know you. And so it kind of made me smile a little bit because you are probably one of the biggest disability allies and advocates who stands up for people that I know. So I didn't even bat an eye at your intention, but I can understand how it could have very well been taken. And we all did chuckle at it because we thought the comment, I think we were punchy at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
When you look at the contextual, you have to look at the context of it. Context does matter.
My first response was I felt very defensive because, like I said, my dear friend had had a stroke. She was like family. I mean, we were close enough. I mean, I sold my house so that I could be closer to take care of her. And I had just had this horrible dream about her the night before. And so like 2 hours later, I saw this email and I was like sobbing and I was a mess. I was like, but I was like, I didn't mean it that way. And it's like, well, you know, a lot of ignorance is not meant, but it's still, I mean, how many times do we see when somebody means that they're smart, they'll say, I'm not blind, you know. It's all around us. And I think it's going to be a rare person, especially in today's changing climate, who goes through their entire life without having to apologize for something.
I was just surprised because Lisa Salinger comes on to the show and she gets an email sent to her. I'm
And she's probably the nicest one. If I'd said it, they would have gone, Raqi, she's a heathen.
No.
They're all used to that, you know. But it has to be nice.
Pitchforks and all.
Lisa Salinger, who, well, you know, honest to God, I just know this about you since the days we called for tech support. I mean, some people just help people and are allies for the community. And I think we all have really passionate philosophy. We want to see people work. We want to see them have dignity. We want to see them have success. I love my blind brothers and sisters. I never set out to work in this community, but
except when I don't.
We want to see people be empowered, but people don't always know that about us. And so I think we're always going to have times when we're misunderstood. And what do you...
Yeah, they don't know our stories, you know. She's a nun. She was a nun. And the stroke did change her personality a little bit. And there was this one man, and when they moved her room, they moved her right across the hall from him. And he was a bit of a bully, and he was a bit of a pervert. Yeah. But he was mostly harmless. But she just hated his guts.
A true nun.
And I'm like, I tried to guilt her. I'm like, Jesus would be nice to him. She's like, I'm not him. So it was just him. Everybody else, she could deal and tolerate their foibles, but she's like, I'm not him. So the one day he was being really combative and really whatever. A nurse came into his room and he said, hey, you want to see something special?
Oh, no.
And he had been hitting at them. And she said, what I would really like to see is for you to keep your hands to yourself. And Sister, who sometimes was slow formulating responses and sometimes was not, shot back quick as a flash. Oh, he does. all the time, but it's not necessarily anything you'd want to see. I
Love it.
There was almost a little puddle on the floor. I laughed.
That's
I cried. I laughed so hard.
That's adorable.
I
love
said,
that.
you were always this way, but since the stroke, I said, I never know what's going to come out of your mouth.
Yeah. It's adorable.
It
She
was
sounds
crazy.
precious. She sounds precious.
She was.
May I just add that I love that you used the word foible.
Okay.
It means like character flaw or
I caught that too. I was waiting for kerfuffle. Foibles.
Kerfuffle always makes me laugh. You'll never hear me use that word,
I
but
was
yeah.
waiting for that one
Foibles.
to drop.
No,
Foibles.
I had to look it up a few years ago.
now I'm getting to be an old weirdo. It's a little scary.
No, I love it. You can ask Alexa, Jeff, what foible means.
Ziggy, what does foible mean?
Foible is usually defined as a minor weakness or failing of character, slight flaw or defect.
Your dude talks fast.
Boy, the voice. No, it's about
I
right.
have
That's,
mine.
that's
I have
Ziggy.
mine cranked up too.
Whoops.
I have
Cripes,
mine set
said
to
it.
talk
But I-
fast too.
Mine's slower than that.
Can't stand to call him Ziggy. You can tell him talk faster. I always have to tell him talk faster because they talk too slow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does he whisper? If you whisper to Ziggy, does he whisper back at you? Does he whisper like I guess he would?
Probably.
Jeff, you're gonna have a date with Ziggy? You're gonna
No.
whisper in his ear?
Not while you guys are around.
Hey Ziggy, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I think we better get on with the show
All
now.
right, we haven't even started yet.
Yes.
Live.
from Blind Abilities.
We've got our
It's
wiggles
Wednesday
out.
Yeah.
night.
Let's get it
Yes.
going.
Yes, let's
Yes.
shush.
Lisa, you recording?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Why is my Siri jumping in here? Cancel.
Because you said Serina.
Yeah.
Turn your do not disturb on.
Oh, I should have done
I
that
do
on my
have it on.
phone.
Did you guys hear that thing come on? Oh, good. So
No.
I won't worry about it.
It must
Just
just been
my-
in your ear.
I
It's
should
the
go to the
voices
doctor
in his
about
head.
this, shouldn't I?
You should
Turn
what?
on Do
Go to
Not
the doctor
Disturb.
about this. I keep hearing these smart devices in my ear.
Voices in my ears. Are you wearing headphones, sir? Well, yeah, but
All right. I gotta go to Chicago.
it sounded like you said. Never mind.
Chicago.
I heard it too.
Okay.
I guess our minds are just.
It's a delivery
I was
service.
like, do you
Shit.
not
A little
like
evil.
Chicago?
You know, speaking of shit,
Yeah.
you can see those images now with the Apple.
Jeez.
We can start now, but I just had to get that in there. You said shipped, and that made me think of shipped. We were talking earlier. When they send you pictures now, the phone will describe them and read the text on them.
Okay, I'm so tempted to try the beta now. You guys are killing me.
The beta is really working good, too.
So cool.
I tell you.
Do you know if the third-party keyboards are working on it? Because that's the deal breaker for me.
Like which ones?
Right now I'm using Flexi because Flick Type can go suck it.
Oh,
When you guys were doing the emoji things, I was on the keyboard on my phone, and I went to find emoji again because I went back to the English keyboard, regular keyboard, and it
Oh,
said
it's a
return to
toggle,
emoji.
yeah.
So it knew I was toggling through,
okay.
which is like, huh.
I'm so tempted to download it tonight. Oh.
That's kind of annoying, though, in a way. I wish they wouldn't get so verbose. Then they start putting in all kinds of extra verbiage and
It's annoying for the first day or two, but
Yeah.
after a while you forget about it and you just go through
Yeah.
you just retrain yourself,
Yeah.
because we are trainable.
Just like with Facebook where it
Yeah,
says
it's like,
see
come
more
on,
instead
guys.
of more. Like,
Right.
I don't
Okay.
even hear it anymore.
All right.
All right, I'll shut up now.
Live from the Blind Ability Studio, this is Tech Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson from friendly Minnesota, and with me in the studio is Serina Gilbert. How are you doing, Serina?
I am wonderful. To your, left, right? Which way are you
Left,
facing? North,
left. I'll
south?
show my
I don't
left.
know. Which way are you facing, though?
I'm facing east.
Oh, goodness. I don't even want to figure that out.
Oh, so you'd be behind me, Serina?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm behind
you-
you.
Wow.
Why are you the lead? Anyway.
Anyways, and also way behind me is Raqi Gomez. How are you doing, Raqi?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Doing great.
That's good. Staying away from those fighters
Way
up there,
back
right?
here. Way 2 hours behind you, yeah.
In editing, we'll put your voice way back there.
Way back there.
That would be so funny.
For all you spatial audio listeners, you'll love it.
Catching up, I really am. I'm catching up.
Basically, right next to me here in the Twin Cities, we got Jesse Anderson. How you doing?
I am doing pretty well. Just got my air conditioner kicked up in my old cave here because it's getting, especially in the next couple of days, it's going to be a bit toasty up here. I know a lot of people that generally think that Minnesota, North Dakota, everything up here is cold all the time, and that is definitely not the case.
We're smarter than the average bear. And I'm facing this direction.
Was that supposed to be Yogi?
Yogi is crying real tears now.
Oh my goodness.
And way over there on the east side, we got Lisa Salinger. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Before we get into the exciting news, the tech news, I want to address something from the last podcast and apologize for a statement I made. I did not make it with the intent to be cruel or to offend, and I know that it did at least one of you. When we were talking about the tactile graphics tablet, I said that I tried to draw on it and that my poor smiley face looked like it had a stroke. Those of you who don't know me would have no way of knowing this. I had a dear friend. She just died this past Christmas Eve. She was like family, and she had a stroke. And so it was a bit of gallows humor because she was paralyzed on one side, and she said, you know, at my age, things were drooping, and now my smile is drooping too. And if she had trouble eating, you know, one or the other of us would just say, oh, it just fell off the edge of your, you know, your beautiful smile. And so it was kind of gallows humor and sort of a nod to her. But I am so sorry that anyone was hurt by it. And, you know, it was a good lesson. So thanks to the person who gave us that feedback, you could have just kept silent and not said a word. And as I said in the apology email I sent to this person, it was a hard email to read, but it was a good learning experience. I'm sorry someone was hurt from my learning experience.
Well, thanks for putting that out there, Lisa. The MagSafe battery pack from Apple just came out, and people are raving about it. I listened to Rene Ritchie do his spiel on it. I heard, Raqi, you got one on order.
Yeah, I think it was out for maybe 5 minutes, and I did hesitate a little bit. I looked at the price and I thought, ooh, do I really want to spend $99 just to have, you know, MagSafe alerts on my battery notifications on my phone and some additional things that come with the custom Apple battery? But it didn't take long. I hear that it's white. My phone case is black. It's going to look hideous. I hear it fits beautifully on the iPhone 12 mini, but it may be interesting to see how, if it's a bit wider than the 12 and the 12 Pro. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I hear good things. I hear bad things. I know I'm disappointed in the capacity, but I also don't think I do understand why they're dropping the power down with this battery. I know MagSafe has a tendency to get really pretty toasty, and I don't find it's a great way of charging while you're using your device. It just sort of keeps your device powered up or topped off. So even if I'm using MagSafe on AC power and I'm on doing some processor intensive thing, or I'm on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call, it may not give me much charge while I'm connected, but it will keep my battery from draining significantly. So it's not, what did Renee say? Don't think of it like a charger. Think of it as a way of extending the charge you already have. And I think if I look at it like that, I won't be quite so devastated at the really minimal capacity that the Apple battery has. But it's stock Apple gear. I have to buy it. I have to see it. It's just the kind of Apple fan that I am. I did also purchase the Mophie and the Anchor because they were both under $40. So I thought I will try all three of them and contrast them and see what I like and what I don't like. And I'll do my own reviews and testing. But as we look at moving back into the office, I know I'm going to need to extend my battery life. And I was always a big battery case user. So I know I won't mind the extra thickness of this battery. And I won't mind just slapping it on there when I need some extra power. But I am kind of sad that they didn't have a little larger battery in that case. I think they could have definitely made the battery a little bigger, and that's really all. I mean, I won't know till I have it. It doesn't have a button though, which I really think is a huge, it's always, you know, going to draw some power when it's connected, whereas the others you have to turn them on and off. So I'll be curious to see when I get it what I think of it.
So will we.
Yeah, I used to have battery cases back on the, I think it was like the 5 or 6 plus days. I used to use the Mophie cases, and I really liked those because they had the switch on and off. I mean, I didn't mind the extra bulk that it added to the phone, and you got a really good amount of battery from those cases, but I'm still rocking the Max, Tennis Max, and it's the bigger of the phones, but the battery life, you know, even 2-3 years in is still holding up quite well. I've thought about getting a battery case, but I'm like, these bigger phones especially, they work really well without them. So unless the battery life goes really bad on a newer phone, maybe I won't have to get the battery ones. But the Apple ones kind of disappointed me just here reading about them and the slower charge speed and lower amount. I'm like, boy, you're paying a lot of money for not a lot of value in a way, I think.
Raqi just mentioned, you just slop it on there and carry on what you're doing. You don't worry about the battery life at that point. It's not like you're going to bring it up to a 100 before you go out the door and hit the sidewalk. You're just going to use it so you're not burning up power. Now, it only gives 5 watts when you're on the phone, so you're not going to just throw it in the truck for 20 minutes and say, hey, it's not charged up very high. And then if you do have it plugged in, it'll go up to 15 watts. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that if you have the Mini or something like that and you're having trouble.
It's the perfect size for the Mini. I think it takes up the exact size of the Mini.
Yeah, Serina sent me something that it'll also charge the AirPods.
Yep, it will.
So the case.
The AirPod case, yeah. You can set it on the wireless charger.
Seems like if you're in the orchard, this seems like an added thing that you'll have for your daily use, your daily driver, especially if you're, taking a train. I knew right away Raqi would be getting one of these because you do have those 2.5-hour commutes where you probably wouldn't use much of your charge if you just slap that on there.
Well, I think the thing for me is that, during COVID, I was home. So I thought, I don't need an extra battery. I'm not going to buy a battery case. I'll just, buy the phone. And I wasn't really going anywhere. There are chargers all over the house. But with the commute, and sometimes, a train will break down. So what might start out as a 3-hour commute might turn into 4 or 5 hours while we wait for another train or while they get whatever sorted out on the tracks is sorted out. And there we wait. So if I'm stuck somewhere and can't get to AC power, I use GPS a lot, and things like that tend to be battery drainers. And so hopefully I won't need it. My hope is to leave work with a full charge. And I used to swap the battery cases out, keep one charged. And when one would die, I would pull the fresh one off the AC power and put the dead one, plug it in, and put the fresh one on the phone. And I just never had to worry about battery life ever. Regardless of what happened, I could, replace a juice pack easier than an iPhone battery. And it just was never an issue. If I wanted to use my GPS all day, I use my GPS all day. I like that it will extend it in those places where I may not be able to get to AC power. But I'm hoping not to have to need it too much.
The other thing, it's an Apple product, so the widget will
be able to see the status
of both of them, your phone and the battery pack. So you're going to have 2 lightning ports underneath there, and you can plug it into one and plug it into the other. It'll charge your phone first or the other.
It does reverse charging. It's the only one of the 3 that does reverse charging. So you can theoretically plug the lightning cable into your iPhone while your battery's connected. It will charge your phone first, and then it will charge up the battery. Why you would want to do this beyond me, I don't know. My mind starts to go like, okay, could you plug them both in at the same time? Just crazy things. But it will charge them both directions, which I think still a lot of extra money to pay for what you're getting. Jesse really hit the nail on the head there. And it's not the most beautiful thing in the world. Renee Ritchie kind of called that right out of the gate. I think they have definitely made more attractive products. We'll see.
Yeah, they used to have the hump, or now it's just another hump. It's a bigger hump.
Yeah. It's funny because, some of their accessories lately, like their phones are pretty good. Their tablets are, really good in that. But like those headphones and their weird case, and then their battery, and it's just some weird design choices sometimes.
Talk about weird. Now on your Amazon devices, there's a new voice. Serina sent this in, and you can add what they call a masculine voice to your device, and it's called, drum roll please, Ziggy.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
I knew that was going to happen. I thought you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't really do it on purpose. I'm not.
I thought you were trying to demonstrate the voice there.
Oh, I could. Ziggy. Define foible.
Foible is usually defined as a minor weakness or failing of character, slight flaw or defect. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for foible.
What's really neat is you can switch the voice to the new voice, to the Z-Man, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
At first I tried a lady change the voice, and she's like, I already know your voice. And I was like, okay, change your voice. And then it automatically changed it to the more masculine sounding voice, as they say.
I tried it on my Sphere one in my bedroom, the new one, and all I did is say, a lady, change voice, and boom, instantaneous. So, yep.
If you do have an Amazon device, check it out. See what you think of it. Mine's speaking a little bit fast.
You can just tell it.
Ziggy,
Speak faster. Speak slower.
speak slower.
Okay, I will speak at this speed from now on.
Now that sounds
Yeah, I
super
know.
slow.
Now, what did you call him? What did you call him? Ziggy? Zigby?
Oh,
Is it-
thanks.
what
Oh
did
God,
you-
no, not Samsung.
Ziggy.
Z-Man.
Big
Oh
speed.
right, yeah. That's what I was
Bixby?
thinking of.
Well, he answered as Ziggy and Zigbee and whatever else you called him.
Zigbee. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
there you
He
go.
does.
I'm still waiting for Hal myself.
Hi, Dave.
Ziggy. How does a pig snort?
According to an Alexa
Oh,
Answers
forget it.
contributor, apparently, the grunts have something to do with each pig's personality.
Oh,
The more
goodness.
the pig zoink,
You have to say,
the
what does a
happier
pig
they
sound
are,
like?
Which
Then he'll do
means
it.
when
Oh,
anyone keeps
Ziggy.
I am very happy with.
What does a pig sound
He
like?
answers to Zigbee. He answers to Ziggy.
Here's a pig snort.
I can't wait for you to edit this. You could ask it to do my son's favorite skill. Jeff already knows.
Oh yeah.
Like the sound emoji that you sent me.
It rhymes with smart.
It sure does.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to call them smart pills, but they're actually rabbit turds.
Oh,
Anyways.
Is anybody old enough to remember the Windows program Random Burper?
no.
No. I probably am old
Wait,
enough, but I led a sheltered life, I guess.
I thought maybe you would know. Never mind. It's
That's funny.
I
can
installed it
only
on my boss's
imagine.
machine. So you couldn't see it in the start menu. It just ran in the background. So, but
It would
every
just randomly.
few minutes it would emit.
Oh, trust me, if I had known about it, I would not have been able to resist installing it on a few machines.
Remember last time during the show we were talking about Magnifier because it came out on an app in iOS 15, the betas, and it is in the control center. The option is there. I went and checked it out, which is kind of neat, which also made me think I'm going to put it as my accessibility for my triple click, which I turn on voiceover or turn it off seamlessly. But when I put it in the magnifier in that option, then it pops up on the bottom and it says, I can tap on one and it says voiceover off. Well, next time I pop it up, I'm lost
Won't
because
speak.
I'd have to remember exactly where that position would be. So I took that out
You
of there.
can use
But while I
Siri.
was in there,
Because my hearing aids are hooked up
Yeah.
to my phone, and that's what I do, is I just tell it turn voiceover on or turn voiceover off.
oh yeah, I mean, it's nice that there's so many different options. And another option that they're giving people in 15 is the ability to do text sizing. And usually it used to be a global setting. You'd go in there and you set text sizing. So across the board, everything would have now magnified text for low vision. Well, now you can choose the app specific. So I did it for settings, which was really interesting because I'd have to swipe and I would only move down so far because, it's a lot bigger. But the other thing I noticed that when I enlarged it to the maximum, but I did a 4-finger tap and it would not go to the bottom while it was enlarged. So
Interesting.
now that was just with settings. I don't know if I go to other things and I do an experiment, but it just made me go, like when you're trying these betas, you just kind of, oh, okay, your muscle
you put it
memory's
back?
screwing up.
Does it,
I put it back. It didn't go back to 0. It went back to 1. And it
does
didn't
it
let me.
does it jump to the bottom when you 4-finger touch though? Because sometimes that skill is janky. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
I
it's
just did
handy.
it. I didn't get it to do it, but that was in settings. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything that's wrong or anything. It was just one of those things that I did go, when you're running the beta, you come across things like your muscle memory goes
Yeah.
faster than the action. And all of a sudden you go, whoa, what's going on? Like when I had it on earlier, someone said, wait, what did it say? Because you heard something new, it's like, yeah, I haven't even registered all that stuff. So I like to goof around with it a little bit, but that's a neat setting for people who would want to use that, I imagine.
Yeah, and last week I know we talked another setting in iOS 15 that seems to be a little bit controversial from everybody. We talked about Safari and how they decided to switch the way that the address bar and things worked. And apparently I got the latest version on my iPad, so it works a little bit differently than it does on the phone. But apparently now, because it was really jarring, what would happen is you would have the address bar at the bottom, but then if you tapped in it to edit, the address bar would would go back all the way up to the top where it used to be. And then it was just this jarring thing of like it was jumping all around the screen. So apparently Apple has actually listened to feedback. And they have, it's still at the bottom, I guess. But then when you have the keyboard up, the address bar just appears right above the keyboard to keep it kind of in line with like keeping it at the bottom, but not making it like jump all over the screen, which I think is actually a good change. And it works differently with an iPad. It took me a couple of seconds to figure out actually, because what it does is you, on the iPad, you have the tabs across the top, kind of like you always did, but the interesting thing about it is so if you have multiple tabs, the active tab that you have open, you don't actually see an address bar. But when you tap the active tab at the top of your screen, and when you tap it, it actually makes that the address bar. So all you do is tap the active tab across the top, and that becomes the address bar for that tab. I was like, where is it hidden? Or is it, I was looking in the menus and couldn't find it, but that's actually how it works. The only change that I would really still like to see is there are times where I really do rely on the refresh button, and I really wish that that was at the top level. You have to go into a menu right now currently to activate that, which is kind of a bummer. But otherwise, I'm liking what they kind of made things a little better again.
Yeah, it's moving around, and between beta 2 and 3, they did a major change with that. I think you're right, they were listening to it. I'm liking it better today. There's other features in there too, like you guys were sending me topics for the show, and they were popping in on that next screen. When you tap the address bar down below, that has like your favorites and stuff, but there's another thing like recently sent to you, basically, and there they all were, so I didn't have to go back and forth. It's fast changing. I say that this beta has been fun and enjoyable. I haven't had too much beef with it. Maybe a couple things on the screen recognition here and there, but it seems like it's ironing out really well. But it's a beta. Yeah, I gotta expect stuff, and Serina just might do it tonight. I don't know, Serina.
Oh, Serina is definitely doing it tonight.
She's gonna.
Oh, you got her to do it.
But I'm learning my lesson this time, because in the past I've just been reckless and not backed it up into iTunes so I could restore if it made me mad. So I will back it up to iTunes first, and I'm totally going to download the beta.
You said the evil word. That is an evil, naughty word.
You did. I have backed up to iTunes since 2012.
But that's the only way you can restore if you want to downgrade.
I know, but iTunes is the worst.
No.
Oh, no, I know.
But downgrading is
the worst. That's the only way you can downgrade, though, unless it's changed. I did hear they changed it with iOS 15. Maybe it's changed, but previously the only way you could was from iTunes.
Editor's note. It was a good thing that Serina did back it up to iTunes, because Beta 4 has some glitches that were just enough to make her decide I'm going back. And she did go back. So remember, back up your phone. If you're going to put a beta on it, back it up so you can always retreat back to the good old days of the previous version of iOS. And now, back to the show.
Yeah, the main beef that I have with iTunes, Apple mainly with their backups, is I hate the fact that when you back up via iCloud, if I purchase, I talked about this on a recent video on my channel, is that you buy an app, you pay money for it, and then it gets delisted, no longer available.
Yes.
Then, you should still have that in your purchase history. Like, you shouldn't be able to buy it if you're new, that's fine. But, like, when I upgraded on my iPad...
You should be able to run it till it won't run.
Yeah, my M1 iPad, I lost a couple of games because they got delisted. I'm like, oh, these were great.
It wouldn't let you transfer from your old iPad to your new iPad? Not restore from backup, but actually transfer the data? Because that's how I've gotten around losing my Instapot app.
Yep, me too.
How can you do this?
When you set it up, it asks you, like, do you want to transfer data from an old device? And you just have to have them near each other, and it literally will just sit there and transfer from one to the other.
You hold one camera, it puts like a QR code on the screen, and you hold the new camera up to the old screen, and it goes and it takes your apps.
Yep, and it definitely does it with iPads.
Everything. It takes all your settings.
It might take 40 minutes or so.
The problem was mine was a little glitchy because I was running a beta on my old iPad, and so it got a little...
They do have to have the same software.
Yeah, so that's why I couldn't do it.
Yep.
That's why I couldn't do it, because I was in a beta.
Bummer.
Yeah.
go back to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
That's really the cool way to get stuff because I've salvaged apps. And I wish they would make it more public for people. I wish they would tell people, hey, this, if you have an app that's no longer available in the App Store, the only way to preserve it is to either back it up, make an encrypted backup, I guess.
That won't do it because when you do it that way, it's re-downloading it from the App Store and it's not there.
Right, exactly. And that's my point.
But the transfer would work. They should publish that.
Yeah, but no, that's my point, is that other storefronts, other digital storefronts will let you, they take it out of the store where you can't buy it, but if you own it, you can grab it again. Well, I paid money for it. Why can't I get it?
That's a good point. Yeah.
You can't go get it because it's not in the store.
But I should be able to go to my purchase history, search my purchase history, and still re-download it again.
Yeah. I agree.
What you can do, Jesse, is when you do have both your iPads running iOS 15, like when September rolls around or whatever, you decide if you want to do this, but you could reset up your M1 iPad and then transfer from your old one so you can get those 2 games back.
I'll think about it. It's tempting, but I just got everything set up.
That would be the way to do it.
Just got it set up.
Upgrade. Great. Oh.
It would be the same setup that you have on the old iPad, though.
Yeah.
It literally it's identical.
Yeah.
I never like to set up a new device when my old device is running a beta because you just can't get everything. Everything just doesn't work. But something that's new, and talk about downloading, I don't know if Serena's really looked into this, but Peloton mentioned that they're coming out with a game that you can play on the Peloton bike.
Serina is very excited. I read that article. It sounds like it's almost like a racing game.
Third person. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looked cool.
The person that wrote the article was super negative about it. I was like, whatever, Ashley.
I know.
I don't know why I remember her name, but it sounded really fun. I just really, really hope that they keep accessibility in mind and make it where when they're telling you the cadence that you need to do, that's being called out somehow. Because I would think that would actually be really fun. If I was just listening to my own music and then playing that game, I could end up being on there for an hour and not even realize it.
And winning.
Yeah.
Good old Peloton. It's kind of neat that they're going to be doing that. It makes it exciting. I've always thought about that. When you joke that how many miles is the Tour de France, but you could pick out a certain run, a certain climb. I want to try climbing that hill. It's going to be neat where this goes with all their innovations, and it's going to be free to you because you're a user of it.
Yeah, you can only do it actually on the bike. You won't be able to do it from Sorry, I just hit my mic. Sorry, Jeff.
Wow. Serena, I feel for your microphone.
You won't be able to do it from the app on your iPhone or iPad, but I'm looking forward to it. And it tells me that that's the beginning of it. I don't think this will be the only game that they have. No. By any means.
Conceptually, you could take all these endless runners that you see on iOS, and make it all kinds of even different themes and stuff like that. I could see that kind of catching on for a bike like that.
Could you see the VR stuff you could do with it? Can you just imagine the fun you could have? Plus, it's got 4 speakers and a sub, right? Can you imagine the games they could create for that thing?
Does anybody remember Zombies Run? That was on the iPhone, and
that was cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool for a Peloton thing. Zombies Bike doesn't have quite the same ring, but it could work.
Bike.
I forgot what they said this one was called, but I immediately related to it because the last time that I had enough sight to be able to actually play a video game was when the Nintendo 64 was out. And I used to constantly play Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the ones on there is the Rainbow Bridge, where it just kind of goes on forever. It's like you're in outer space, but it's rainbows. And that's what they said that the screen looks like on this one, is it's just rainbows. And I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, the screenshot looked pretty cool.
Yeah. I think there's a Peloton in the future for Jeff because he was speaking like he was going to be doing this game.
Oh yeah, I knew it last time.
If you get
I
one,
wasn't sure.
Use my referral code. You get $100.
Lori's gonna kill you.
Lori will use it.
Maybe not. Maybe she'll think it's cool.
Oh yeah, you got to talk Lori into it. I've already planted some seeds, but now it needs.
Marlon's talking Lori into it right now. As he's in the next room.
I believe
Come on, Lori.
Yes, Lori, I think that the Peloton is a reasonable purchase.
You do you?
Yes, I do.
You do what?
What?
What do you do around here?
I do a lot around here.
Like what?
I feed the goat, read the emails, things. I do stuff. Yes, I do stuff.
Did you say do-do?
Yes. I did say doo-doo. Popcorn before 9 a.m. Okay, Miss Doo-doo.
I heard that.
I love it. I was on it last night. I don't do a lot of live rides, and I wanted to do a live ride last night because, at the 1 in 6,000 chance that your leaderboard name gets called out, that can be pretty cool. It did not, but it's fun to see them because they hop on 5 minutes before it actually starts, so they're just kind of chilling there, just talking to you.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so different knowing that they're doing it at the same time. I don't know how to describe it.
Hey, Raqi, tell me about this 5G SE that's going to help eliminate the Mini from Apple.
Oh, so they say. I don't know. There's some really diehard Mini fans out there. I'm coming to see that there's a whole network of people who really love the iPhone 12 Mini. I think they're going to be really disappointed when it goes away. I don't know much about the new one other than that they are actually they have one in the works, and I think it'll be a good refresh for the people that got the 2020 SE, which will be 2 years old by the time it comes.
What about the WhatsApp? You said they're rolling out new calling interfaces for iPhone users.
I saw that. I just saw that at the last minute. And WhatsApp has made a lot of changes lately.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems to me, I went without using WhatsApp for a long time and then started again. And it just seems like in the last few months, they've been making a significant number of changes to the iOS side of things.
Double speed. I like that.
Yeah, just some really cool through the Actions rotor and stuff. There are a lot of things you can just do quickly.
It's like if you have different devices that you can, because typically if you're on one device, you can't have it on another device because you're using your phone.
Yeah.
And so I believe they wanted to go to the Mac or to an iPad and stuff like that. So I think people are upset. It's like if you want to get on Clubhouse, it's limited to your phone, or unless you have your iPad. There's ways of going around it. But I think they're really starting to put some muscle into that WhatsApp. I'm starting to like it a little bit more, but I'm kind of interested in when it says that it's encrypted, end-to-end encrypted. Like people feel like there's real privacy, because the other person has to have, a code that receives your message and all that stuff. But, the other person could just forward it to the world and it's not really encrypted anymore, is it? I mean,
what kind of phone calls are you having over there, Mr. Thompson?
Oh, no, I was just reading.
It's like, I need this call to be encrypted.
You ever read an article and at the end they put 17 Twitter responses back, why encrypt everything if it's all shared in a group, or if it's,
If it's anybody can.
Because you can copy it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they even have a little clause in there that said that you can send invisible messages. So once they read, they disappear.
But you can screenshot it.
I know. They put a warning. However, it says, the person could screenshot it, or if they forward it before it disappears.
Yeah.
Once it's written, forget it. It's done. It's out there somewhere.
Yeah. There's no taking things back, Yeah. Talk to some of our senators lately, stuff that they said.
Yeah.
Speaking of stuff disappearing, I was looking for the Versus Slate, Raqi. It's not out yet, is it?
It is out. It's coming. It's being. It's in the order process. We have a batch coming. Some companies are taking orders already. We haven't started yet, and probably actually won't add it to inventory until next month when we have some in stock to add. I don't like to pre-order. It's just not because I have anything against the folks who pre-order. They're just set up, their financial back end is set up a little differently, and we have to account for our data a little differently. So it's a little easier for them to take pre-orders than it is for me to do it. Because of the way we handle finances, have to wait until I have the inventory in stock before I can realistically work with it and collect payment for it. It's coming, and it's really exciting. I have the Mini here. I don't have the larger one. The larger one is the unit that we're carrying. So the 4-line unit is the unit that's being sold. I believe the Mini is 12 cells and the large one is 20 cells per line, and it's 4 lines for the state.
Pressed the button and did the magic pre-order tonight.
You did? Did you get a case?
Yeah, I hear the cases
Cases
are
are
neat,
coming.
and you were the one that said it was like magnetized and you could stick it on the fridge or whatever.
Yeah. And if you have a message on the slate, you can read it while it's
Yeah.
in the case. So if you stored a phone number there or something, you can slap it up on the fridge and you can go over, and apparently there's a window in the front of the case. It's not $40 or anything, I don't think.
I think it's like
I'm not exactly sure.
25-ish.
25,
Yeah,
something
I just
like
figured
that.
I would see
Yeah.
it first. And I think the last podcast I said, oh, I probably won't order one yet. I want to wait. I'd kind of like to see it. And I was going back and forth. Which one do I want? And I kind of just went, you know what? This is available now. I want it now or soon.
Mhm.
And if I ever teach Braille again, I think this would be great. I almost wonder, if I really like it and I really use it, I almost think I might get the smaller one to like carry in a small purse or something. I don't know.
It's a great fidget spinner.
That's too funny.
It's a blind person's fidget spinner, I swear.
Too funny.
It lives on my desk, and you don't know how many times a day I pick the silly thing up, and I find myself writing things and erasing them.
Well, I used to draw in high school, and can I only make it the 4 lines of the slate? And I actually figured out how to draw a heart using 4 lines and 6 cells across. So yeah.
Interesting. You'll be able to do
Yeah.
it? There we go. We'll have slate art coming soon.
Now you have an answer for what did you do today?
Well, I have a Rubik's Cube on my desk. It does sometimes get worked out in meetings, and I also have one of those. These weren't as popular, but I think in some ways it was cooler because I could work it. That's why I was cooler. But it was called a magic snake, and there was this kind of...
Oh, I love magic
There was kind
snake.
of this little complicated move that you could do that you could turn it into a ball. And I hadn't seen one in 30 years, and I saw one, and my hand, I couldn't have told somebody how to do it, but my hands remembered, and I was like, I've still got the touch.
That's
Oh, wow.
That's so funny.
I've got this really cool little, it's not a fidget spinner, but I picked them up a little while ago, one at work, and I have one at home here. It's called the Fidget Cube, and it's about the size of like a giant, like a bigger dice, but on each side there's one thing. It's almost like you got the 3 little gear things that roll like you're turning like on a safe, and then there's like a little trackball. On the other ones there's like a 5 dice kind of format, like with the 5 bumps, and they're little buttons that you can hit.
Huh.
Okay.
And then there's like another one with like a joystick thingy
That's
that you
so
just kind of
cool.
like rock back and forth, so it's all kind of...
It's like a busy box for adults. Remember those
Busy box.
Remember those things for babies? And there was you push it and it squeaks, and you slide the car.
Yeah, this one, like the one side's got the light switch.
It's a busy box for adults.
It's a
How bad
busy
is
box
that?
for grown-ups.
It probably costs more than the busy box for children, too.
Is it metal? Does it go on your keys or
It's
something?
plastic.
Serina,
It's plastic.
Serina,
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Is it
plastic.
keychain
Please-
size or is it
please
bigger?
tell me you don't have a mobile above your headboard.
Yeah, I mean, you could put it on a keychain, but it would be kind of heavy. But I'm playing with it right now.
I used to have a few of they're called fidget cubes. I used to have those.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Somebody's I had them in my office because I work with youth. And someone stole one of them, and
Aw.
I think I gave my other one to my kid, and he lost it somewhere. They're pretty cool.
Did you guys hear what Jeff just said? It was too priceless. He said, do you have a mobile hanging over your head? To go with the busy
Over
box?
your head.
Jeff, you're just jelly. You know you are. You're jelly.
Jelly, don't be jelly.
I like my fidget cube, thank you.
I love those.
I was just curious. Well, some people were jealous when you had to have an invite for Clubhouse, but now Clubhouse has dropped it. It's wide open. It's wide.
Because we all had 10 invites sitting in our
I
accounts
know.
we weren't
I
giving
had
away
At
anyway.
least
Mm-hmm.
8.
It's like the Clubhouse Bitcoins.
Yeah, we're not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They said they had 10 million people on the wait list.
Yeah,
still.
they could hit me up. I would have handed out a bunch of invites happily for free.
People are going to be like, what's this Clubhouse thing? I don't even remember.
No.
When I read that about the 10 million people waiting list, I was like, I call BS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have given them all 10 of my invites.
It used to be that way on Twitter. Does anybody have a Clubhouse invite? Nobody's asked in months.
Because nobody wants one.
Yeah.
And I said I was going to check back in and just see what was on there, see if my gaming room was open, and I still haven't done that yet. I'm like, yeah, I should still do that. Maybe this weekend I'll finally get around to it.
They have added a new feature, and that's the only reason I checked into it, because I was like, but then there's no rooms for me to play around with it, is you can private message each other now in it.
Oh.
Back channel. You can DM people.
That would have been really useful.
You can DM anybody, yeah.
Ooh.
So, like, remember, Jeff, you had said you wanted that if you're hosting a room and there's someone being obnoxious, you could, text or, private message some of the other speakers and be like, I need you to kick this person out or whatever,
DM.
Yeah. Or you need to move on or...
Mm-hmm. It would have been really nice, though, in, like, the gaming room that, like, because of this gaming cocktail hour, like, you just made so many really potential professional connections and... just be nice to really message them like, hey, let's connect after this. That would have been really nice in like April.
Or you could talk to them about the Diablo 2 being more accessible.
What's Diablo 1 and 2? I don't even know.
Jesse?
Enlighten me, Jesse.
Sure. Diablo is a kind of action, it's like an overhead sort of isometric action RPG role-playing game. And the first Diablo came out, I want to say around like 1998 or so. And then Diablo 2 was like early 2000s, and then they had Diablo 3 later on. But Diablo, like I played quite a bit of Diablo 1, a little bit of 2. 2 is kind of like, for fans, that's kind of their favorite, I guess. They announced earlier this year that they were coming out with a remaster, which is coming out late next month. I think it's August, but it's coming out. But they made an official announcement yesterday. Blizzard, the developers, Blizzard Entertainment, they announced, basically had this whole really interesting post on their website that was just talking about their philosophy and how they were like, this is a really great opportunity to, not just up the graphics and make things, work on modern systems, but let's get people who haven't played it or maybe who weren't interested or who weren't able to play it, the first version of the game, they can play it. So it's going to have like a lot of like font scaling and text size options. It's going to have text-to-speech support. There's a lot of inventory managements, like as you kill enemies and stuff, you get like better loot and better gear and items and stuff. And so that's kind of why I stayed away from those a little bit, because there was so much like little managing, like, oh, okay, we got to compare this weapon to that weapon, that armor to that armor. And it was just a lot of little text that was kind of floating around. But it's going to have text-to-speech, and sometime after launch, they actually announced that they are planning screen reader support as well, native screen reader support. So that is pretty cool.
Is this a PC game or?
Yes, it'll be on PC, and you're probably going to have the most accessibility features on the PC. I think some of the font scaling options, just because of the consoles, don't have some of that as an option. So you're going to have a little bit more flexibility on the PC side there. But the consoles, like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, they will have Diablo as well.
What about Road 96? You mentioned something about coming out on the PC and on the Nintendo Switch.
I don't know that the game has a lot of accessibility options. I know there are some, but the way that they actually designed their gameplay, they kind of designed it so that like a lot of people, no matter their skill level, their experience, like there weren't a lot of advanced controls that you had to worry about or timed actions and things like that. Just, it was kind of an interesting post about how they approached. It's a really neat idea because you're basically kind of going down this, this Road 96. You're kind of this, I think like a hitchhiker kind of a thing. I did play a Steam demo of it about a month ago, and apparently it's like all of these random events can happen. So like you play the game or I play the game, and our situations, our scenarios might be totally different because we might encounter different characters or different events. It sounds like a really neat sort of a game, but yeah, they're approaching accessibility in kind of a unique way. So I love to see all of the different approaches and like so many more indie titles and your big AAA titles. There's a lot happening in game accessibility. It's pretty amazing to see right now.
So Jesse, it's Serina. I have a question. I'm sorry. I'm so used to announcing who I am because of
No, go for it.
Needing accessibility.
Yeah, no.
No, so this is random. It's sort of related to your game accessibility,
yeah, go for
but
it.
Like somebody has gotten me obsessed with this game called Swordy Quest. Does that sound familiar on iOS?
I have a video of it on my channel.
Swordy Quest.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm addicted to it. I don't even know what the point of the game is, but somehow I play it for hours and I look up and it's like midnight.
Yeah, I played it a lot. It was funny because somebody had told me about it in one of the comments on my YouTube videos, And then I downloaded it and I never got around to it. But then in the middle of last week, the developer actually had found my channel and he had reached out to me directly. He's like, hey, have you thought about looking at this game yet? I've been putting a lot of accessibility updates into it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't gotten around to playing it, but thanks for the reminder. And then I started playing it that day. And for like the next 3 or 4 days, I just like spammed it really hard. And so now I'm like level 40.
So if any of the listeners wonder what most of us do on this show when we're not doing the show, between,
Now you know.
Fidget things
Fidget
and
cubes, fidget
mobiles
spinners.
and gaming and stuff like that. Yeah.
I still don't know what the game's about, Jesse. I'm gonna have to watch your YouTube channel. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm traveling places. I'm killing goblins.
It just levels to it, right? My whole Twitter timeline is full of this game. Everybody's playing Swordy Quest right now.
Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back for another iOS voiceover accessible game video. We are taking a look at a game called Swordy Quest, S-W-O-R-D-Y, Quest. So let's just jump right into it here. I've got my iPhone up here, and I have it in my app switcher. So like I said, this is a voiceover accessible turn-based RPG, and as I'm recording this video, I literally saw before I went to bed last night, he just put in under the recent updates, usually people just say bug fixes, security improvements, whatever. They're updating the game and updating the accessibility of this game all the time, because when I read through the release notes last night, I'm like, good lord, like under the update screen, I mean, there was literally like a couple dozen of accessibility improvements, and I haven't even really played since the last update, so it'll be interesting to see what I notice compared to what I was playing right before I went to bed last night. It's basically a kind of an RPG. There's not a whole lot of story to it, but you start out with like literally nothing almost, and then you get like, weapons and armor.
Like, go gather.
And you find these castles and take down these bosses, and eventually I unlocked a whole new world that has quests now. And
I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't collected anything. There's some dragon heart I'm supposed to be getting. I don't know what I'm doing.
You need to be the boss for that.
I don't know what a boss is.
So let me get this straight. You're the boss?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure? Because I'm fairly certain that Jeff is the boss.
Jeff?
He isn't? You're the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. But Jeff signs the checks.
Jeff signs your check. I sign Jeff's check.
Oh. Lori, sorry. Tech abilities, how may I help you?
I'm gonna look at your video.
That's Jesse's channel.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey,
that's
what?
a clue to plug your channel.
Yes, it is called Illegally Cited, and I cover all kinds of things, mainstream games, accessible games, VR, hardware reviews, and all kinds of other shenanigans.
Shenanigans. That's like one of my favorite words. I love it.
Yeah.
That goes along with foibles.
Yes. You're just full of shenanigans and foibles today.
Sticking to the foibles.
I pretty much release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
Holy cow.
And if there are game events or, special things happening like that, lately there's been so many, so I've kind of done some bonus videos. See, the secret is I just kind of roll with it on the fly. I took a lot of inspiration from a couple of other websites and a couple other things that I follow. The trick is I really don't edit. A lot of it is just kind of pure live, because my approach is there's definitely a space for major editing and things like that, but I kind of like where when I show a game, there's spotlight videos. So I basically start it up at a point, I play it and comment over it, and then if it goes well, it goes well. If I have trouble, you kind of get to see as is, basically. You can kind of make your own opinion of
as it should be.
Right. So it's not like, oh, we're going to hide all the bad stuff from you, or we're going to make it sound worse or sound better than it is. And you just kind of play it and
play
let
it
people
as
make
is.
their own opinion.
I like that.
That's awesome.
Serina, what do you got going?
Hey, what about my sound emojis?
Sound emoji.
Oh, did we skip that?
Did you skip right over my important Facebook Messenger update?
Sound emoji. Here we go.
Facebook Messenger has rolled out a new feature called sound emojis, which I am absolutely in love with, honestly. I really thoroughly enjoy them. The way they work is you go under the tab that says stickers and more, I think is how it's labeled. You'll swipe and you'll eventually hear something that says sound emojis. And then you can double tap on them and it'll play a preview. And I'm not going to spoil the sounds for you because they were very surprising to me. Very, very unique sounds. And you can send them in Facebook Messenger. I am hoping this is something that Apple copies because I loved it. It's just kind of cool to have little sound effects to go with the messages that you're sending. They are hilarious. Jeff sent me one that he said was Trey's favorite. Again, it rhymes with smart.
It was gust of wind.
Yes, but it was definitely a rhyme with smart. They're so much fun. I sent one to Jeff. I was like, have you heard of these? And I just sent him so many random ones. They're so fun.
I don't know.
So
People don't use words anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty
They're
cool.
so cute. They're so funny.
That's where those random things came from.
I went to iMessages and started snooping around there, and I Googled it. They don't have them.
No,
They don't
they're
have
going. I
them.
bet
Not
you
yet.
they will.
Bet you they will.
15.1, watch.
I bet you any money.
Mhm.
They all copy each other. So.
I don't know how anyone hasn't thought of these before. Like, it's so obvious. I like them. I
They're
think
short
they're funny.
and sweet. It's just
They're like
boom.
3 seconds long. They're so funny.
I'm kind of showing my ignorance, but can't you, I've never played with these, I'm just going on what I've heard. Can't you do this a little bit with Memojis?
That's visual.
So this is slightly different. You can do it with Memoji, but it's your own video. It's your own audio. Like, you're recording something. So these are pre-recorded. Like, there's one that's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It says it like 3 or 4 times in like this super high-pitched squeaky voice. There's like applause. They're just, think of them as like little sound clips.
Like a laugh or a
Wah,
cry.
wah, wah.
More annoying sound effects.
There's like
Great.
30 of
They're
them.
so funny. There's a lot of them are popular songs. Like there's some Ariana Grande ones on there where it's just like 5 seconds of certain words where in solitude, they're very funny. There's a Beyonce one where you're like, I didn't even know that was in a song. They're very funny. They're cute.
I love the text message. I think it's if you just send happy birthday. Like if you say happy birthday to you, it doesn't work. But it's like fireworks. And you can hear them, but you can feel them.
Congratulations.
You can
That
change
is so
those.
cool.
Yeah.
Like if you type any message in iMessage and then hold the send button, it'll pull up all those options. So you can make it where it changes just the way the bubble looks, or it does a full screen effect. There's like 9
no
different
way.
things you can do to it.
Yeah. the little
Okay, that's fun.
explosions and the-
That's
They're fun. I do
I
them all
probably
the time.
read
audio
the
in them, too.
description and it was
Yes.
so dry, and I probably went, oh, I would never use that next. But that can be fun.
The sound emojis to me are like when some people send the stickers or a GIF or something where visually they look and they see someone laughing or doing something silly, you know,
Exactly.
like to
Yeah.
create the effect. Well, this is actually an audio version of that. It was just kind of neat.
Itty bitty sound clip.
It's a nice option.
I think so.
Because I know how Jesse loves emojis.
People don't use words anymore.
Loudly crying face.
I love my
Words.
emoji. I love them. They're everywhere in my life.
They don't want to have to spell, Jesse.
Use your words. Literacy good.
My life would be incomplete without emoji.
And then she includes like 3 or 4 right after that, you know, broken hearts, tears.
That's part of why I like the Flexi keyboard, because it has like a row on it where it'll automatically like predict emoji that you want. So it's a little different than the regular iOS keyboard, where if you type in heart, then you can kind of replace it with the heart in the prediction bar. But this one, based on your context, it'll actually predict what emoji might go there. So that's how those ones came. Like all 3 of those were in the prediction thing that I added there.
I should write a book called Everything I Learned About Emojis. I learned from my nieces, because my one niece and I were really silly. It was late at night, kind of like now, and she was sending me emojis, and I was sending back what it said. So like her boyfriend had some kind of whale emoji by his name. It said spouting whale. And then she sent me this one, and it didn't warrant a text message back. She got a phone call. I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? This was several years ago. It was the smiling pile of poo.
Yes, that's one of my favorites.
So I now have smiling pile of poop emoji earrings, and people look at them And they're like, oh, they're Hershey Kisses. No, they're not. It's really cool.
There's one, and I don't know if it's still described this way. They might have fixed it, because now I think about it, it hasn't come up lately. But there was one where, because finally, my friends would always send this one, and the description that you get with voiceover is grimacing face. But they would send it in a context where they were like laughing, and I was like, what does this actually look like? And they're like, it's a really toothy smile. And I was like, well, it reads it as grimacing face. And they're like, oh, like, it's hilarious.
Oh no.
I think they might have changed the description though. It might say
just
grinning
floored.
face
I'm like,
now.
okay, why is there a pile of poo? And even
Because
more,
that
like, why is it
expresses so
smiling?
much.
With the
Oh,
smile.
I know.
I thought that was. Yeah.
But when
it's so funny.
hurt my brain.
it's
I
like
got
when
a
I first heard
stuffed
it just
pile of
got
poo.
me.
What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
I saw slippers.
It's
I
like
want them.
it's about 6 inches tall. It's stuffed like a stuffed animal.
Oh my god.
It's a smiling pile of poo.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I hope
When
Trey
you-
doesn't hear this.
When you squeeze it, does it make rude sounds?
It doesn't make noise.
I don't think they have that one on the message, because there's only maybe 20 of them on there. But the gust of wind is rude enough.
What you can do, Lisa, if you can't find an emoji, just write the word and write emoji after it.
I knew someone who did that and would make up emoji.
Wow.
You can search for them too. You can click
Yeah, I
on
use
the
that all the
emoji
time.
keyboard and just search for them.
Yeah.
Well, if I had to search for emoji right now, I'd get that hand waving bye-bye, because I think
Waving
we're done.
hand. Emoji.
Waving
one.
hand.
Waving hand.
Good one. Fireworks, applause, cheering.
Yay.
But we do need to do an outro still.
You already said waving hand.
We said waving hand goodbye. We
said
could always
goodbye.
we could all just say goodbye.
And then Jeff could come in and say, welcome, thank you for listening to Blind Abilities for da 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 da.
Yeah.
Go to blindabilities.com.
You would think that we would have that memorized by now.
I do. Welcome. We think.
I think he did it perfect with the bye-bye. He could just pop his music in and his little edit in there at the end and say, thank you for listening to Blind Abilities. We'll be back next time
Yeah,
with
exactly.
episode number 32.
Because it was really good and it was really cute, and I don't think you can top it.
Yeah, I think the waving hand, bye-bye, everybody said goodbye. And
I do want you to put, like, I like it, Jeff, when I like it when you do outtakes after.
Oh, you
Like
mean
this
right at the very
conversation
end?
right now.
Yeah, bring Marlon in again.
Like
He's
some
so
bonus
funny.
material. I
I
just
always
I
have a-
love
tells me,
that.
did you hear me on the podcast? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Jeff put it all together. We came to the consensus. Did he tell you your shoes sound like high heels? So you
Clogs.
need better
High heel
emoji
clogs.
shoes when you walk.
Those are
You
the
need
same shoes that he gives me when I'm
tennies.
climbing up and down my soapbox.
Oh, funny.
It's okay on a girl though, but on a guy, it sounds like he's got taps on his shoes.
I
He's
need
gonna have him
to.
stomping next.
Like, shut up, shut up.
You need those shoes like they have for babies now.
The ones that have the bells and the squeaky things.
So every time you walk,
Clown
it could be
shoes.
squeak, squeak, squeak.
Those are so funny. I saw those like right
I know.
before COVID. I never laughed so hard. A blind mother brought her little girl into convention and she had these little squeaky shoes on. They
I've
were
seen
so
them
cute.
before, yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever
I've never
had
seen them before.
Nike Airs that
The pump.
well, yeah, but the air is pockets of air underneath the shoe, in the shoe, you know what I mean? But sometimes a rock or something will poke one of those, and you'll walk, and all of a sudden, if it's like little wet out or on the street, it'll go, rah, rah,
I've heard that.
You're like,
Sounds
what is
like
that?
Somebody was like, that was my shoe. And I'm like, I think it's a little bit higher up on your body. And they're like, no, honest, it's my
It
shoe.
really was.
Don't you
my
hate that
shoe.
when like
Oh my
you
God.
like move on a chair or something and you're like, I swear I did not, and then like you can't recreate it. You're like, they're like, sure.
I went to this church in college, and they had
you try to
chairs.
recreate.
And whenever people sat down, it sounded like 300 people passing wind. It was like mutant weird
That's funny.
chairs. Yeah.
I swear somebody bought those
I
on
won't
purpose.
buy Nike Airs anymore.
Yeah.
So everyone
When I
that's
got my
still
Apple Watch,
listening,
I had to go in and
send
talk to my
Nike
boss,
Airs.
and it was talking, and it would brush my sleeve, and it would just light up the screen and light up the screen. And my boss is blind too, and I didn't have the heart to tell him, look, I'm not checking the time. I don't know if raise to wake was still set or
It
if my sleeve
activates
would
really
just trigger,
easily.
but it would go click, 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 click,
Yeah.
and I'm like, shit, and I can't tell him he's blind too, and I'm thinking, I want to say so badly, look, I'm not checking the time. It just does that. But then if I say that, then it really makes me look like, so I just kept my mouth shut. I'm like, damn, this thing. It's really embarrassing.
I hate that in Minnesota. All of a sudden you get to the long sleeves and you put your jacket on. I'm out shoveling snow and my watch is going.
Yes, it's annoying.
Well, and mine was the worst because like I would be listening to something, I'd be listening to a podcast or music on the bus. But then I actually had to turn off. I don't remember where it was, but there was like a setting where it didn't come up with the now playing thing because all of a sudden, like my music would start skipping around.
Oh, because you're pushing the button. I know exactly what you mean.
Hit the button.
But then like it was rubbing against my coat sleeve, and I'm like, what the hell? It took me forever to figure out. Oh, it's activating my watch.
I wonder if turning the water lock feature while you're shoveling would make it so it won't, because it makes it basically deactivates the screen until you spin the crown. I bet that would do it. So you don't.
Oh, really?
You have to try.
That might be.
I would never dare turn on water lock and go swimming with my watch on.
I'm scared. I don't
do it all
even
the
wash the dishes with my watch on.
And I do it in the shower. And you know what?
That sounded really
I know
dirty.
we're still recording. No.
I'm keeping that part.
Never
I've gotten
mind.
it wet.
Thanks for that clip.
Gotten it completely drenched without water
I
lock
do it in the
on.
shower.
Raqi, you did not understand
Water
why
lock
I'm giggling.
is
That was
the
made it
shower.
way worse, Raqi.
No,
That
I
was
had
really bad.
Well, I
It
hesitated.
took me like, oh my god, that
yeah,
took
I'm
me
like, what?
way too long
Yeah.
to get that. I've been
I
awake too many
hesitated
hours.
because what I was gonna say is when I have used water lock in the shower.
You gotta put all of this in there, Lisa. And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the Blind News Perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality
of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.